Welcome to the Protein Bros podcast. On today's episode, we have a very special guest. His name is Leo Cormier. He is the owner of Recovery CBD, a brand that we have carried for the last 2 years or so. He just moved to Kansas City. He's a great guy. If you know nothing about CBD and what CBD can do for you, you don't know about anything about maybe the quality of CBD, what you need to be looking for when you're buying CBD, this is the podcast for you. He goes into everything that goes into making a quality product. He talks about the benefits of CBD and why it might be something that you should try out. So if you're somebody who is interested in CBD and don't know where to start, this is going to be the episode for you. If you find value in this episode, we appreciate it if you like, comment, subscribe, and let's get you guys to the episode.
Steve Aoki, Diplo, two friends, chain smokers.
I believe one of them is from Maine. I'm not positive on that one.
But were you born and raised there?
I was not. I was born and raised in Lowell, Massachusetts. You may know it from the movie The Fighter.
Okay.
Real classy place.
Down and dirty.
Down and dirty.
Mob shit.
Yeah, just trash shit.
Yeah.
You know, people pretending they're mob, but...
You got these hand tattoos that got you out of having to work, in quotes, a real job for corporate America.
Yeah.
But let's talk about how you got into CBD in the first place, because CBD is something that I think a lot of people are still confused about. I'm really hoping that by the end of this podcast, people can have a lot more of I'd say like a comfortable relationship, and they know where to get started with it.
Yeah, sure.
Where did you personally find your beginning with it, and how did you get exposed to it, and then I guess the number one thing I want to hear from that is, what was your first experience like with the benefit?
So I have a hip impingement, and so I grew up in the 80s. There was no like physical therapy for you. I ran pigeon-toed, and I just got made fun of for it. And I would have a lot of lateral injuries, so I'd roll my ankles a lot. I had 2 non-contact ACL tears, but I didn't know about the hip problem until I was 26. And right away, the doctors like talking about the pills and the pain management until you can get a replacement. And I remember thinking, oh, okay, well, when can we do that? And he's like, well, when you're about 50. So I'm like, so 25 years, the plan is to just take pills? And it doesn't sound like a great strategy. And I was also fortunate that I had lived in South Florida a couple years before that, with really that opiate thing took off there. And I really saw it happen to some people where they were like just injured or just like had done party drugs, and then all of a sudden they're like on Oxycontin, then they're homeless, then they're gone. So I used cannabis for pain relief, because now we're going back to 2006. We're really very few places legal. And I continued with that. And, truthfully, cannabis has benefits for pain. It settles down your nervous system. It kind of disconnects you from it a little bit, but it doesn't have actual pain relief, properties, especially if you're smoking it and stuff like that. So in 2014, I was a patient in Massachusetts, and that was the first time that I got introduced to it and realized that it was something that could, I'd still use the cannabis, but actually get something that helps with the pain management. So 2014 was my first experiences with it. And I'd been in the fitness industry. Actually, we moved in 2016 to North Carolina for a job in the fitness industry. My wife and I, she's a personal trainer. And when she was pregnant with my first son, I was getting her some gummies, like from a shady place that like I'm sure is low quality gummy. Like, it said it was 25 milligrams, but like of what? This is 2017, and it was really helping her. It was helping her with her, being pregnant. It was helping her with the morning sickness. Like she just felt better, and that was the first time that it clicked. Like, okay, so I'm going here to get this thing that is that's helping with this thing that's really big and important. Like, so where's this disconnect? Like, how do we connect these dots more? And then the job that I was there for just really didn't work out. I was exhausted from the fitness industry. There was a day, I had a 4-month-old son. I was working 6 days a week. Gym hours are different than
Were you selling training at the time or selling
No, I was the
memberships?
general manager.
Okay, running the whole operation.
Yeah. So there was a point where I just looked at a check. I'll never forget. It was $914 take home for 2 weeks, 2 hard weeks. And I looked at my son, and my thought was, I can't let his father be treated like this. And that really changed my perspective of what I wanted to do going forward. I knew that I needed to find a way to work for myself. I was burned out with fitness, didn't have the money nor the interest in my own gym or starting a training business or anything like that. So we moved to Maine, where my wife is from, and there's a really low barrier to entry cannabis industry, especially back in 2017, 2018. So I knew it was a good place to be able to go and get experience. So I got a job at a dispensary, and that's how I started working with people and learning about these products, learning how to source it, learning how to make different products. And then the biggest value I got was the feedback from people of, what their objections were. I'm a career salesperson. So, I want to know how can I beat that objection before you're giving it? Like, what's the product that is going to solve the most common denominator problems for people? And that's how I based formulating the products. And then February 2020 is when I started the business. I really nailed the timing.
I said it's a perfect time to start a business.
Everybody said it was a perfect
Everyone
timing.
is out.
Couldn't have been better. But what's interesting is that, I think we're all pretty big fans of Andy, and one of the things he trumpets the most is just don't quit. Like, you just got to find a way to not quit. Just keep going. And my original business model, because I had a dosage and a price point that I believed in that was a higher dose than what was available on the market at the time, even close to the price point that I wanted to hit, it was going to be all going to fitness events. It was going to be all tabling, going out and just getting to people the same type of sales I had done my whole life. And then as, COVID set in, all those events got canceled. There was no gyms to go to. There was no, I was just DMing people, like mass DMing people, copying and pasting, just hitting as many people as I could. And a lot of it, look back, just like keeping myself moving, low return on the investment of time, but like just had to keep moving forward. And from there, between February and August, there was thousands of brands that backed out from launching in 2020. This got the Farm Bill in 2018 is what legalized it. So you needed 2019 to really grow it and extract it and get finished product. And a lot of these brands were private label. So I was making my own products. It started out, it was like 20 pieces at a time. But because all those brands dropped out, the material cost dropped 95% in 6 months. And it would have been very easy. Nobody would have shunned me if I had quit my small business and the summer of 2020, but I would have never gotten to that point where the price would drop so much that I could then wholesale it. And then that was the big real difference maker for me, was being able to go and sell wholesale and educate the people that are selling the product, spending time with retailers and, giving out samples, answering questions. There is a huge disconnect. And, we were talking earlier and you mentioned the gas station, and that's the best example for me because.
And just for our listeners, I want to interject just real quick to be like, there was a time when I feel like when CBD was first getting to mass market and it was becoming like, and I can only speak from our, local to Kansas City kind of experience. Missouri was starting to become legal for cannabis medically. Kansas is still illegal for both, right? But at the time it was like, we know this is coming. Like, we know this is like becoming more mainstream, if you will, that it's becoming more socially acceptable to be an everyday user. Not every person that's using cannabis or CBD is like this. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe, like a slacker, if you will, right?
No, for sure.
And so, there's just those negative stereotypes. And so people were just getting more familiar. And then it felt like, this thing that is so incredible, that has so many benefits, is now being also peddled at gas stations or, head shops or, vape shops and so forth. And it's like, you don't know what is what. It's so difficult to figure out or discern what is quality, what to look for on the bottle. And it's overwhelming. And so it makes you want to dismiss its benefits altogether in those moments as a consumer.
Can you explain, for people who are listening that might not know what CBD is, can you explain exactly what CBD is and what it is versus THC? And then like Jeff just said, like what's the difference in quality that people can look for with CBD?
So
outside of not buying it from a gas station.
That's a big question.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a lot to unpack, I think.
Yeah.
Well, the first point I want to
maybe
make
the elevator pitch of it.
The first one I want to make is about the gas stations, because you hear about all the benefits that CBD has, right? It's good for pain, it's good for anxiety, it's good for sleep, and then you see it at the gas station. And do you want to ask that person behind the counter if that's going to help with your pain, anxiety, or sleep? Mm-hmm. Like, do you even feel like you're going to get a proper answer from that person? And the next step is, do you want to tell everybody else in the gas station that you have anxiety? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So,
and it's right behind like these other things that it's just falling right into that same category as like, you can get like some $5 wiener pills in there.
Yep.
You can get like, some energy pills that say,
do those work well, Jeff? I've always wanted to ask you.
That's what Luke told me.
Oh, Luke
yeah, he said
that.
it was great. Right. Thanks, Luke. There was a energy pill that me and my friend bought once that was like a joke, and it was called Truckers Love It. Can I get a package of Truckers Love It on there?
Yeah,
the guy,
2 truckers love it.
The guy right now is actually a really like it's like a really like hip way to look. Look at the third picture over. Is that it? That's it. I had this package. Truckers love it. Look at the dude in the leather jacket and the mustache.
That's the most trucker looking trucker.
They're right on. And look, it's the back of the gas station right next to the Stamina RX or whatever. But my boy right there, they put him straight on Yellowstone right after this.
I'd love to
that
throw
guy's actually cool head to toe right now.
No,
that looks totally back.
But in 2010 or 11,
yeah,
we were taking the Truckers Love It.
He's gone full circle. That mustache is as big as it's ever been.
It really is.
At the time, that guy stood out. Now he's just cool.
Yeah.
That guy looks like he right in the left lane.
All that to be
70.
said, that is your basis of comparison. That is your foundation of like, how can I take this serious when it's literally sitting next to?
Truckers love it.
Truckers love it.
So that was the thing that I really identified, was that as a consumer, there's not a good place to ask questions and get good answers. So from a consumer standpoint, nobody's creating that environment where a person can feel comfortable to ask questions. I mean, I've done a bunch of you guys' events. Every time I do an event, I give out samples of this menthol topical, and people ask me if it's going to get them high, and they ask it in a way that's like, I'm like 99% know this, and it feels like a stupid question, but I have not run into somebody that I could trust the answer that they gave me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that people are very underserved with products with THC is anybody that takes a drug test. You got boomers fall into 2 categories. Either they were at Woodstock or they were radicalized for 60 years. There's not much in the middle there. They're not dabbling. So there's a lot of people, including Big Jim, Andy's dad. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've had a conversation with Big Jim here and there. So
the human rain delay,
the best, the best dude.
Yeah, he's the best. But he got some of my product after he had his knee surgery, but he spent 20 minutes telling me how much he hated weed and how all the employees that he had that used weed fucked everything up. And then after 20 minutes, he told me, but I used that on my knee and it helped after the surgery. But he only used it because there was no THC in it.
Yeah.
So that's so when you're looking for quality product, I would say the thing you want to look for is testing. How recent is the testing? Is it batch tested? You want to look at dosing. There's a lot of companies that will make multiple dosed products. I have a line of products. They're each specific for different things. But when I see, here we go. So that tells you it is what I say it is. Mm-hmm. When I see a company that's selling multiple doses of product, I see a company that's selling you as much relief as you can afford. You don't have any other supplement in here that you sell a non-effective dose of. But with CBD, there's so much gray area. People don't know. Mm-hmm. They're trying to get a sale at 17 milligrams per dose. So 17 milligrams is what you would give about a 55-pound dog. Yeah. So to give you, so they say 5 pounds per 20, or 5 milligrams per 20 pounds of body weight for a dog. So if you're, they're trying to get a $30 or $40 sale. It's not strong enough to be effective.
We run into this all the time in the supplement industry
Yeah.
with the efficacious doses of things. The phrase or the term becomes popular. There was years ago that they're always popular fish oil, but the EPA and DHA content of the fish oil is what matters. And so, like, for example, you could get like a twin pack at Walmart for $5, and it's like, that is fish oil.
Right.
They're not lying. Is it effective? You need like 12 of those.
Right.
To get
Is it
the same as
rancid?
one of these. Yeah. And so,
Well,
yeah,
that's the other part,
it's
too.
just such a, I just want to say, like, yeah, I totally feel your frustration on that.
The industry I compare it to the most, or the product I compare it to the most, is creatine. 'Cause if you're old enough to remember when creatine came out, it was huge. It blew up. There's a bunch of charlatans doing business. A lot of confusion with steroids still to this day. I'm sure people walk in surprised you have creatine because it's a steroid. So there's a massive amount of education that has to happen. And, you have to recover from that initial push of those companies that were just in it because they thought they could make easy money. And you remember back to the loading.
They certainly
and
did.
Yeah. So
Prior to micronized, when it was disgustingly huge chunks in your, drink when you're drinking it.
yeah, well, and you had to have it with, had to have
Just grape juice and
sugar.
wine.
Yeah.
That insulin response, man.
Yeah. So
Celtec, remember Celtec?
yeah. Greg Kovacs,
60 grams of carbs.
6-page ad report on Greg Kovacs.
The ad reports are my favorite.
Let's go.
So that's what I compare it to, is that the benefit is too strong for the industry to not get through this and pick up and to get good products out there and to get good education
The
about
cream will
it.
rise to the top.
Yeah.
And people will become more informed.
And it's just going to take time. So it's, it's not steroids, it's weed. The biggest confusion is this weed? Is it fake weed? Is it, is it going to get me high? And that's just a matter of educating.
And then the other part of
consumers.
this too, Leo, I want to be clear, is like I've been a THC user, I've been a CBD user. I'll never forget, like, going into a place where you could buy CBD flower, and they were like, "Dude, you if you smoked this CBD," he's like, "give it like 10 minutes, it'll feel like you just had like a big joint or something." And
That's kind of false.
yeah, it was, and I know that you know the truth. Yeah. And so it's just part of, like, it's just going to further perpetuate, and so, like, I love that you're enduring all of this, because, like, we know the benefit, we know that it's going to work well. It's just a matter for, again, the information to get to the right people. And eventually, like, there's going to be an informed mass that will appreciate what you guys are doing fully. Right.
Yeah. That's and to that aspect, I made the products very specifically to not look like weed, not look natural. If you look at a lot of the brands, they try to hitch their wagon to the fake weed thing or the little bit of THC.
So silly to me. Yeah.
So kind of going back
Quick
to
buck kind of
the way it
strategy.
launched, it launched like the modern supplement industry runs, right? Like, web ads, distributions, and it left, there's
Beautiful branding, by the way.
Thank you. That's Dan Bradley.
Shout out Dan.
Shout out Dan Bradley.
Because it looks beautiful. The red heat one too.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
That one, that's almost made from scratch. That moisturizing pain cream is made totally from scratch with mango butter, coconut oil. It's not something I saw on my bingo card for myself. Is learning essential oils and
Mango butter.
and mango. That product's sweet, man.
Yeah.
You mentioned the THC thing, and a lot of, CBD products will have a small amount of THC in it. Is there any benefit to having THC in a CBD product?
There is a benefit. I would argue that the federally legal amount does not offer much of a benefit. But so to go back a little bit, your body has a cannabinoid system. For fitness people, think of cannabinoids like amino acids. They're passing signals. You have endocannabinoids that are created by your body, and you have phytocannabinoids that are created by nature. And cannabinoids are in a lot more stuff. So the idea is that by having THC, you're kind of charging up that cannabinoid system by having multiple cannabinoids called the entourage effect. The actual reference to the entourage effect goes back, I think, almost to the 70s or 80s, and it was a study that used CBD and THC at a 1-to-1 ratio. And what happened was people that couldn't tolerate 10 milligrams of just THC were able to tolerate THC with a 1-to-1 ratio of 10 milligrams of CBD and so on. So personally, I think it's a little bit misleading in that, what's federally legal is 3%. So if you have 1,000 milligram bottle, there can be 30 milligrams in there, which is giving you a milligram per dose. I would argue that you could also use more of the cannabinoid that you're looking for the benefit of to get an effective dose. So my products start at a higher dose. I make 2 products that only use CBD, and that's a tincture for humans and a tincture for dogs. Everything else, I'm using other cannabinoids to get that entourage effect. It's just not THC. So, for example, all the topicals use CBD and CBG. And CBG is a stronger anti-inflammatory, and it's also neuroprotective. So in the topicals, I found once I added that, it was better for sciatic type pain. It was better for certain shoulder pains because you get that nerve pain relief. And then in the tincture, it was better for anxiety. It's great for post-workout. Bodybuilders like it because you can take it. It's neuroprotective, so it's settling your nervous system down. You're getting into recovery mode faster. You're getting a natural appetite. And for a bodybuilder, that's the difference of like stuffing a meal down their throat versus actually being able to eat it comfortably. And that can make a big difference. And also great for overall pain and inflammation. And what's great about the cannabinoids is that your body knows how to use them. So, for example, if you want to use ibuprofen before you work out, you're going to impede the inflammatory process of the hypertrophy that you were trying to get from the workout. Whereas the studies have already shown that the anti-inflammatory properties of CBD don't impede that hypertrophy inflammatory that you're looking for. It's almost like your body understands that this is a good process of inflammation versus, a bad process of inflammation, if you will. Whereas when you're using the ibuprofen, that's just holistic. That's just going through your blood. It's going everywhere. It's dealing with pain and inflammation and like more of a holistic matter. Is that the word?
No.
It's not the word.
I get what you're saying. NSAID's not great. Better to use a natural way of reducing inflammation.
Yeah. So, and then getting into products, I would say the dosing is important. I'm gonna start.
Dude, everyone does it.
If you just bang the microphone stand, it's going to do it.
You'd think our producer would change that, fix that at some point.
There's no possible way to fix that.
Yeah.
No possible.
It's impossible.
Could not.
It's impossible.
Couldn't.
So one is effective dosing. As we said before, it's kind of safe to go by what they say for pets, 5 milligrams per 20 pounds of body weight. And especially with non-THC products, you really can't go over. For example, there's only one FDA-approved cannabinoid drug. It's called Epidiolex, and it's prescribed to children with neurological disorders, so seizure disorders.
Mm-hmm. Epilepsy, so on and so forth.
Yeah. And it's prescribed to them at 5 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, safely.
Got it.
Right. So, when you're getting into, you're looking at 400, 500 milligrams for a full size, like grown adult. So the dosing matters. And then there's multiple options that you can choose from. And as far as you have a full spectrum product, which is going to have that little bit of THC in it. And then you have a broad spectrum product, which is going to have none of the THC. But both of them claim to have additional cannabinoids that will give you that entourage effect. Now, what I say to that is it's sort of like the proprietary blend of the industry, if you will. I'm not saying that they're all, that all of them are bad products or not good products.
If you wanted to hide something, or if you wanted to not give it effective doses, it's a great way to put that in there where they don't have to disclose.
Well, and here's what I say to that. If there was a good dose of anything else, they'd tell you.
Wouldn't they want you to know?
I mean, you see that the testing that I get, it's cannabinoid profile testing. It tells you exactly of how much of everything is in there.
Full transparency.
And when you look at those bottles that are broad spectrum or full spectrum, if it's the full spectrum with THC, it'll tell you it's less than 3%, but it oftentimes won't tell you how much. And it doesn't tell you anything else that's in there. So if there was good CBG, if there was good CBC or CBN or any of those other things, they wouldn't let you know. So this is the, what is this? What do we got up there? So that's the CBD tincture. So that is all CBD.
That's would you call that an isolate?
It's an isolate. Yep. I use all isolates. And the other benefit for most consumers is there's no taste to it. A lot of people don't like the taste of those broad spectrum and full spectrum products. It leaves that bitter aftertaste. And ultimately that prevents a lot of people from using it consistent enough to see the benefit. I am a proponent of THC, just to be clear. I just tell people, go get it somewhere cooler. There's cooler places to get THC than 3% hemp extracted.
When people are using the product, this is another, I think, common question is, how long would I have to use CBD at an effective dose to experience the benefit?
Is there a buildup?
There is. It's got a long half-life, so that's why for a lot of things it's best used daily, especially for chronic pain. When we're talking about the CNS downregulation, you can get that benefit from that dose. You'll feel that.
Central nervous system for our listeners here.
Yeah. I make a sleep product that's CBD and CBN. You can use that just for that. You will get that impact. You will get good restful sleep because of the CBN. But a lot of the things that if you're dealing with anxiety or mood, or you're dealing with chronic type pain, I usually tell people you'll notice that you had a better day. 3, 4, 5 days later, just coworkers were easier to deal with. Life just felt a little better. But there's not like a, oh wow, clouds open up moment. It's just the best way to describe it is you're less irritable. And if you're dealing with chronic pain, you're maybe you notice that, but again, maybe you just notice that you had a better day.
So 5 days, you think it'd be a good time frame of people using it consistently before they could truly, if they're looking for it, they'll find it.
Yeah, I would say at least that when you start. But what's interesting is you'll really notice it if you take it for a couple of weeks and you're getting that benefit. If you stop taking it, you won't notice that for 2 or 3 or 4 days. You won't have like an immediate, like for me, if I do forget to take it for a couple of days, my knee will start to hurt. I have I had an ACL reconstruction with a screw in there from 1997. That's the chronic type pain that I have the most. And it's fully resolved by using these tinctures, but I'll notice if something happens, if my schedule is off or I forget it somewhere, that pain comes back in like the third day. Not right away.
Yeah, it's not like
the next day.
Missing coffee
for
the first.
Yeah, it's not like by noon you want to kill yourself.
Right.
Let's talk about the business aspect of things.
Sure.
When did you feel like, okay, we're kind of getting out of the woods and
post-COVID?
Post-COVID. What is there any specific thing that happened that made you feel like, okay, we're going to be able to make this work?
When that price drop happened and I could wholesale and I could hit the road, then I at least felt that I had control of my destiny. I knew there was a lot of work to do, but I had a path that I could follow and I could just continue to press in that direction. I'm still waiting for the feeling you just described, but
sometimes it takes a very long time.
Yeah. Well, it's.
I don't know if we've completely gotten over that.
Yeah. I think. Oh, Andy just said it the other day. Do you feel that when you're about to lose?
Yeah.
But for me, because of that uncertainty, I had small kids. We had no money. I mean, no money. There was a day during COVID that I checked the bank account the night before, had about $100 for groceries, diapers. My wife was pregnant and we had a 1-year-old, and it was that like Mad Max era at Walmart where it's just
no toilet paper.
Oh yeah. Just total dystopian weirdness. And, I had like $80 worth of groceries, and, the card got declined, and, the lines are massive. So like everybody's watching what's going on, and then I'm like pulling stuff off, and, it's pretty obvious at that point what's going on. I run the card again and it gets declined again. And so I have all of that like shame of the people that are watching it happen. And I just remember like turning around and looking up, and everybody's head just darts
Going down.
Yeah. Like, no, we weren't watching that. But then on top of that, I had to then go tell my wife that, we didn't have any groceries. I wasn't able to get anything in the store. And it was as simple as our cable bill drafted, overnight. And it went from $100 to $20 in the account. And that moment in that time was like incredibly difficult to get through. So getting back to like, when did I feel? It was like when I felt like I had some control was the biggest part for me. I mean, really, the personal living and the lifestyle, I mean, we haven't even really caught up to any of that stuff. It's just the ability to keep playing and knowing that I had a way that I could
There's
control.
a genuine path that you can get to, that
Yeah.
you know that if I can get in front of people and I can educate them, that they can continue to use this product that I know will benefit them, that I know works, and they just need to be consistently taking it, et cetera. I mean, that's a beautiful thing, man. I appreciate you sharing that aspect of it, because so many people would want to quit there, especially, I think so many, especially as being a provider for your family and leading your family, you want to provide that security, and, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's farther away for other people, but like, that belief is what has to kick in that moment, right?
Yeah. And I mean, really shout out to the wife. I mean, even through that, she didn't question me, and I've thought about this a million times, the difference between someone believing you in 100% versus 99% when you start a business. Well, that's only like 2 weeks. Someone believes in you 99%. That means 99 times they're okay. The 100th time we have a problem. And how long does it take you to get 100 problems these days, Jeff?
I don't know.
Tuesday?
Weeks?
Yeah.
If you have a partner that's willing to live in a cardboard box with you, that's the best asset that you can have in life.
We were pretty close to that.
Yeah.
I mean, we lived in we were paying $700 a month for rent in Lewiston, Maine. You can look that up. What you can get for that. I won't indulge anymore. Dude. So the point being that like, it would have been very easy, even reasonable for her to question me or to, to ask me to do more. And she never did. She believed in me. She knew we'd find a way to make it work.
Yeah. But, one of my favorite, sayings is, love is patient, love's kind, and it's like, those are those moments where it's like, love's a verb there, it's not
there was action involved.
That's right. And it's like, love's a verb there. It's like, you got to let you be and let you figure it out. You know what I mean? Just being patient through that.
Yeah.
Shout out to her. What's her name?
JoJo.
Shout out JoJo. Very cool,
Yeah.
man.
And, and that stuff continues. I mean, we have 3 small kids. I was mentioning you guys earlier, I was on the road 11 weeks last year. That's 11 weeks that she's got 3 boys and a German Shepherd puppy that she's dealing with. And, I'm sometimes doing stuff that's really fun. Sometimes I'm at Summer Smash. Sometimes I'm coming out to this barbecue. I do a lot of cannabis events. I do a lot of fitness stuff, and I actually had to work through a lot of like how much I enjoyed what I was doing versus what it left for her. And she was finally to the point of like, dude, if you had to go to a fucking vinyl siding conference because that was the job that you had to have, like, I wouldn't be mad at you for that. Why would it be mad that you get to do something that you enjoy? And it's like, yeah, it's all right. So, but it's like a natural, it's
well,
like,
when you experience joy,
right,
you want to experience it with her.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's part of the struggle is like, I'm working, yes, but there are moments where I get to just enjoy myself, and it's like, it's not the same without you.
Well, look, I'm the weed guy when I'm around fitness people. I'm the fitness guy when I'm around weed people. Like, it's fun. Yeah. I've built a fun thing that I do. And she got to come to her first Summer Smash this year, so that was huge. That was great. And It was good for her to meet people and get in the community. I was trying to explain to her before, like, everybody loves you. Everybody's your friends. Like, what does that mean? I don't know any of these people. And by the end, she got it.
I get it.
It's drinking that from the fire hose, drinking the 1P culture from the fire hose.
That's the place
she's
to
a
do
saint, dude. She's been hanging with 3 boys all the time.
Yeah.
How old are they?
7, 5, and 3.
Bro.
Hey, listen,
Bro.
you got to throw in the German Shepherd puppy too.
I think Kyle's got the exact same lineup.
I was about to say, you said 7, 5, and 3?
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
ages.
Same ages. Oh, all boys?
2 girls. My older 2 are
okay.
girls, and then I got my little dude who's 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Different.
But
sport.
here's the thing: is now that I have Sully, my oldest daughter is kind of a tomboy, so I was always like, if I don't have a boy, I have Clara, and she's a tomboy. Then I had Sully, and I'm like, oh no, like he's just a booger flinging, like flipping on the couch kid.
Pee in the backyard.
Pee in the backyard, run around naked. Like it's just a different breed.
How different is your 3-year-old boy from your girls when they were 3?
Way different.
That's what I'm
Way
saying.
different. But I think
Different
about
sport.
now when I look at like families that have all 3 boys. You know, my buddy Brett is about to have his 3rd boy. I'm like, that's just a different level of crazy shit going on all the time. Like it's just different. It's different in a destructive way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
the amount of destruction that a boy can do versus a girl can do is it's way higher.
And I tell people it's not addition, it's exponential.
Yeah.
You don't go from one. The equivalent is not 1 + 1 is 2. It's you go from 1 to the equivalent of 2 × 2, and then you go to the equivalent of 3 × 3 because they're all. You know, my wife jokes if she just has 1 kid for the afternoon, she's like, I feel like I have a pet.
Oh yeah. My wife is like, if you take 2 of the kids, she's like, what am I going to do? You know, like
Kyle
it's so
teases me
easy.
'cause I have a daughter part-time. We or every other week because it's my wife's daughter's from previous marriage.
Yeah.
And I was like, like, man, I just come home to an empty house half my life still. It is crazy.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I don't
understand silence.
I'm like,
No.
Kyle, sometimes Hannah and I, we run out of things to do.
He said to me the other day,
we go to
he
the
goes,
movies and
he
we're
goes,
like-
when's the last time you went to a movie? I'm like, you think I'm going to take my savage kids to a movie theater?
I did.
They're
I brought
lucky if
them
I
to,
put one on at the house.
We've done 2 movies. We did the Minecraft movie, and then what did we do? Moana 2.
Yeah, Moana 2.
Moana
yeah.
2.
Classic.
Yeah. We took our
We
kids
just went
to
and
that.
saw F1 and I was like, man, movies are just not the same.
Grown-up movie? No, a grown-up movie?
Wait, what?
I don't even know the last
a movie with
grown-up
cuss
movie
words?
I've watched.
This is true. When you have kids, it's like grown-up movies go out the door.
We
You're
actually
just like,
we didn't bring any TVs back from Maine.
Yeah.
We're a no TV household at this point.
Well,
I
not
don't-
a dig. It means that your oldest, he doesn't even have any memory of the Patriots being any good at football, huh?
He was waiting on that one.
Yeah.
He was
hey,
waiting to
first
set
of all,
that one up.
you're here
Transition.
now, dude.
Yeah.
Your oldest is going to be a Patrick Mahomes fan.
Yeah, I think
and
it'll
he's-
probably be hard to stop that minutia. We'll see if he can play 21 years.
Yeah.
We'll see if he can.
I don't know if he wants to. He might just be done at 8 Super Bowls at 35 and be like, I'm good.
Yeah, we'll see. It's
talking
funny.
a big name,
This goes to all of you Chief fans out there that give Patriots fans shit. We're the only ones that don't care. We're the only ones that don't hate on you for it. We're the only ones that can look at it and go, yeah, isn't that fucking cool, bro?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I appreciate it.
My Patriots hate is not from the Patriots of current. It's from it's deep seated.
Nobody hates
a
Drake
long
May,
time
of
ago.
course not.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
They got Vrabel
Out there
now.
running for his life.
I'm actually on the Vrabel train. You know, I hope he.
Well, the truth is, I've always respected the Patriots, and I never give them any hate, to be honest. It's more of just fun because it's like I was organically. We just talked about this yesterday. Kyle and I are driving home from St. Louis. We do a weekly trip to St. Louis now. And as I'm driving home, I'm like, man, how crazy is it? We were watching like someone rank the quarterback, or I'm sorry, the NFL teams in like tiers, right? And it was like, man, how sad is it that the Patriots are just like, it's like how quickly they can just dismiss this unbelievable dynasty. As far as like, it's so far in the rearview mirror. It feels
Well,
like.
it's
I'm not
what's
saying
interesting
to, like,
about
rub it in, or I'm like, that's just crazy, right?
What's interesting as a fan, like obviously it was fun to go through, but it's cool to see them actually get the respect they deserve because it was nothing but fucking hate from 2003. Nobody really
Deflate
except you.
There's a lot of
Nobody really hated them in 2001 except the Raiders and the Rams. they were still a Cinderella team with a backup quarterback
Exactly,
at that point. They were cool. It was right after 9/11. They were the Patriots. There was a lot behind it. But then, 2003, I think people were okay. By the time there was
Spygate,
three,
Deflategate, all those things.
What was that?
Spygate, Deflategate.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, there's like just evidence.
Listen,
As a
you wanna
Rams fan in
talk-
2001, there was actually a recorded practice before the Super Bowl, and Marshall Faulk in the Hall of Fame says they knew our plays. They knew what was happening before we even started the play.
I don't know. Marshall who?
Yeah,
He played for the Colts, right? He was the Colts
as a rookie.
running back. Yeah.
As a rookie, went into the Hall of Fame as a Ram. Just saying.
I mean, if there wasn't enough to silence it, but I was at the Deflategate game. Okay, they would have won that game with a fucking cinder block. they had a tackle score a touchdown. They won. I think it was 42-3 or something.
Patriots'
And it
greatness
was
is undeniable.
But that's what I mean. Is like
Undeniable.
that. I know you're saying it in jest, but that was everything you heard for all that. So now people
we're getting
actually,
the refs are on our side and all that crap.
Oh, yeah.
And just like you guys had Giselle, we've got Taylor Swift. There's so many parallels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is
Yeah,
kind of
Rams.
weird.
Mahomes was a second-year quarterback. Brady, was he a first or second? I can't remember if he was first or second. But
you got a goofy star 87 tight end.
yeah, all true.
Yeah. Oh, so one of those is the actual Deflate game. The other one was I was at the Giants Patriots preseason game that Brady's suspension was dropped. And I have another funny story about that. Look at that, 8 likes. Jeez. Come on, guys. Go back. Help me out.
What year was that? 2016?
15.
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
Luke likes it.
So what's very funny about this period of time is I lived in Boston at this time, and I had just gotten an email for I don't even know how I was on it. Maybe it was on social media or Twitter or something, but there was a talent agency looking for guys that look like football players.
Heck yeah.
All right, I got time. I'll stop in. So I stopped in, and it was funny because there's a bunch of guys there with their headshots. They're like taking this thing real serious. And then they pulled me in the room with like 20 people, and they had like half of us saying line. And the line was that laptop's like a 6-string quarterback or a 6th-round draft pick. That's what it was. So flash forward, nothing came of that. But then I get a call like, I don't know, maybe a month later. So Brady did a bunch of commercials with it. He was suspended for 4 games, and he did a bunch of commercials. So I got cast as a lineman in a commercial with him and for Beats. Yeah, there it is. That's my helmet.
Just out there defending your hero.
No, even worse. I was an offensive lineman that had to get beat. My worst
So you actually had to let him through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can see the idea is he's rolling right. So there's the only way he's going to be moving like that is.
Did you meet? So you met him? He's pretty cool.
Yeah, he was super nice.
Yeah.
There was a point where the director was trying to tell me where to go, and the director didn't know anything about football. And I looked at Tom, and he goes, a foot off the guard. So I just landed, and then he slapped me in the ass.
Yeah.
I was like,
Let's go.
Heck yeah.
You want me to
about that?
Yeah. You want to get up under here and take a snap?
Can I just snap you one
Do a
time?
couple?
Yeah, that was they paid me $500. I definitely would have done it for free.
You're a paid actor.
I was a paid actor.
That's
and then
pretty sweet.
Shortly after that, I was on the reality show Pitbulls and Parolees. You ever seen that?
No.
Sounds familiar.
The Dog the Bounty Hunter?
No, different. No, it's Villalobos rescue. They were out of California and they moved to Louisiana to help with the Katrina dogs, and then they wound up settling there. And then they had a reality show where they had a lot of parolees as employees. There's kind of a program for it, so it's a pretty popular show on Animal Planet. So those are and now this. So
That's pretty sweet.
You've lived in Kansas City now for 3 weeks.
3 weeks tomorrow.
3 weeks tomorrow. What has been your favorite food spots? We get to this towards the end of the show, but I just want to
Hold on.
some better ones?
Before that, we got to go back. What I was going to ask you when we sat down. Obviously, you have a dude that you're in business with, right?
Yeah.
Not exactly sure how, what the what the exact business scenario is, but named Ian Smith. He rose to popularity because he owned
Tillis.
Tillis Gym in New Jersey when COVID shut down. He defied all of the orders to shut his gym down, became a national
Ian famously took his door. They literally took the door off of the gym.
Yeah, and it became free. It was free for a year?
And he had to be there 24 hours a day.
By donation only.
By donation
so
only.
they took his business license. So they said, interestingly enough, find out a couple of years later, they never took his business license. They didn't actually like formally go through the process. They were just ad hoc.
I was following this saga pretty closely because
he was the first person I felt like that was publicly saying, "Not today, not me, not us." You know,
and I mean the gym thing is pretty wild, but that guy flew for all of COVID and never wore a mask, never gave in at an airport on a flight. He had. I know there was at least one event where he had to drive from Jersey to Michigan because they found a way to not let him on the plane, and the watch list and the early check-in and all that. That's the part to me. I mean, it's all pretty wild, but I think like the amount of like pressure he was getting daily to be that one guy.
The business,
we all felt to that.
Yeah, I was about to say with the business stuff, we were. You get put in a weird situation because it all was so volatile on both sides, and you're, as a business owner, you're like, dude, I just want to make money and like support my family. So what the hell is going on here?
Sure.
And it was just a crazy time. And it was, it felt, as a business owner, it felt kind of lonely because it was like, you had a lot of people trashing businesses, that were just trying to stay open. And as a business owner that actually has physical locations, you were watching the likes of
stay home,
like Amazon and like, Walmart.com. You're just kind of like, oh, this is just shitty. This isn't fair. Like,
they can go to the liquor store.
Yeah.
But
go to the liquor store or go to big box, retail stores, but like, independent retail. We were lucky enough that, there was not any fight with us. It was, we were granted an essential business, but it still was like, we have a bunch of friends that are in the gym business. We have a bunch of friends that, own other.
We did a whole fundraiser for the gyms that were here in town.
So it's just it was a crazy time. So I was paying attention to that pretty closely. How did you guys meet?
So I was watching, what was happening the same way you guys were. And I was just starting my business, as we were talking about before, just like busy work, doing what I could to keep going. I couldn't even buy a t-shirt. So I started sending him, I reached out to him, I think through Instagram. And I would send them product that they could sell through the store. I would donate the product, and then, they had a nutrition shop in there as well. So that was my way of contributing because, he was standing up for what we were all thinking. Then I went to a couple events at the gym. One of them was the Veteran Outreach Workout, which was put on by Rob and Dana Bailey, and First Form had a huge presence there. Andy came out. It was the first time I met Andy. And I didn't realize, there it is. On that day,
Old DJ.
On that day, I gave out all my product for donation. So whatever you can see right there in that jar, I let people take whatever they wanted, and whatever they gave me, some people gave $2, some people gave $50, so, and then I gave all of that at the end of the event. And not everybody did that. Not everybody that was there that said they were going to do, did what they said they were going to do. And I didn't know that was standing out at the time. And we stayed in contact. And then when he was looking at what he was going to do next, leaving the gym, and he lives in Florida now. He reached out, and we figured out a way to get him involved with the company. And ultimately that's the path that's led here. He had the First Form relationships. He got us the meeting with Chris. He got us on the shelves here, which led to the trips coming out here, which eventually led to now I live here. So
that's cool, man.
It's an interesting
full circle moment.
Circle, yeah.
Wild destiny.
All because of, as they say, the China virus.
I just love it. Like, you went all in with people that you felt like aligned with your values and your views, and surrounded yourself with those people, and look how far it can take you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're still on our way. Of course, we're still on this journey, but just interesting, how, when you look back, it's like all of these dots connect, but you had no idea it was going to connect like it did.
But I think that just reinforces that when you do the right thing in business, the right things are going to come back to you.
100%.
And if you do things that are selfless, people notice them, and like I said, that's the winning formula in business, is doing what's right.
I mean, it meant a lot to me that I could do that. That was probably one of my first overnight, 2 nights out business trip that I was able to have. And for me to be able to provide the product and then donate the money, that day was a big moment in a lot of ways. I was really able to appreciate what that was, because it wasn't possible, before. You look at what was on that table, that's probably as much as my first, as much as my first 20 batches combined.
Yeah.
That was, even preparing that and making all that, and having the material for it was, that was a big moment. And then it was the first time I met Andy, and, Andy is exactly who he says he is. I met him, I happened to walk by him before a line was starting, before the event started. And I just talked to him for a minute, about the podcast and, the difference that it had made. And he said, it means a lot to me that I'm here as a vendor, next to you, not just here standing in line to meet you. And he goes, you got a table here? I said, yeah. He says, all right, forget the picture. I'll come over at the end. We'll take the picture at your table. And then that's what he did, and we talked for a little bit, and, just said he, had a good idea for that day, and, he liked the product, and I gave him some, and then kind of came full circle to find out he had been using it on his shoulder, when he was going through all that stuff. So that was super cool to learn, with no connection to him. It's not like I could just text him and find out, but, again, didn't have any scarcity mindset to it of are you using it? You can tell people about it. You're gonna just giving things out with gratitude and the way it can come back. If I had that mentality behind it, that turns people off.
People smell it.
Yeah, for
Andy,
sure. 100%.
Andy, we've known Andy since, we were in our teenage years, and, he's always been like that. Prior to having any money, prior to being successful, he's just been a guy who, the way he talks, you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna get on board with that.
He aggressively attacks what he believes to be is the right thing to do. And so right is relative, and you have to really choose his side, and he chooses his side all the way, doubles down on it, stamps it, and makes it very clear this is where he stands. And though that obviously can be polarizing to people, but I think we need more of it. And it's like, my wife and I surround ourselves with all kinds of people, and people that are just very unique individuals. And it's like, we just love people that are unapologetically themselves. I'd rather hang out with people like that than people that are going to hide and perform every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so, watching how Andy shows up for people over the years is something I think me and Kyle are very privileged to have seen, because it's like, people don't even know 99% of the unbelievable things he's done.
No. And, I'm going to give another example. This is something that he just did it. He doesn't I had just posted a thing about, what to do for a small business, like their posts, follow their just engage.
How can you support a small business without having to spend money?
And then
a million things you can do.
I wake up in the morning and Andy went through and liked every single post on my business page. You know how many people didn't? You know how many people with far fucking less shit to do who I know way better, but he is who he says he is in every situation I run into him with him. And it's funny. It's actually interesting meeting him at this point, because it's you have to balance, I actually know you. Even though you've never seen me, you don't know me, but within the first 15 minutes, you're like, oh, I actually do know you.
Yeah,
Everything that you are on the show. It's just it's a one-sided conversation, but you got to not be too weird about knowing him, but also
Bro, when MFCEO podcast dropped, me and Jeff had been listening essentially to those episodes for 10 years, not 10 years, but
all of our
years.
Monthly meetings.
Every monthly meeting, I was just like, damn, this is exactly, it was cool because it was the world is hearing, basically what we were privy to hearing, prior to him releasing the podcast. And that was in the beginning of like when podcasts were really starting to pop off too.
2014, I think.
Yeah.
I just went back and started listening to some of the first episodes.
Yeah.
again
You'd
to,
probably rather you not, but
there's a lot to catch in there, man. Forget about the quality. You know, there's a lot of stuff that like, and it made a big difference in starting my business, and some of the things that he gives you the insights of, you know, like when he talks about your friends, you know, it's
one of the hardest parts.
And especially if you're not expecting it, but at least like having listened to that as that started to unfold, where I actually did only have like 1 out of 20 of my friends that cared or was helpful, or like, it was much easier to digest because I was able to separate the emotion from it of like, oh, this is just the way it goes.
Yeah.
You know, this is, oh, I didn't expect you to be the one that didn't support me, but now here's the face to one of the, you know, 5% of the people that are not going to help, or the, you know, you represent, you know, that 1 out of 20 of, you know, 5% that's not doing anything. And then you got one person that really, you know, out of that
kind of organic kind of, you know, weed out process of your circle happens without you having to try.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I had to delete a group chat because there's, you know, we all got that friend that like is entertained by getting you riled up. Mm-hmm. And I just, you know,
shit stir.
I was suffering, you know, I was trying to figure things out, and, you know, you got that one person that just like likes to poke the bear, and it's like, you know what? I'm not going to be grown enough to not react. I'm just not going to fucking be here. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to try to worry about my emotions. I'm going to cut this thing off at the pass so that it's not even a thing. It's not on me to be whatever, you know, not respond to the thing that you're trying to get me to respond to.
It's easier to just cut people out when they're not willing to grow at the same rate as you are. And it's just easier to cut them out, you know? For the most part.
They're telling you with their actions that they're good right here.
Well, and at the time, you know, again, going back to, I've got a small kid, I've got a wife at home, she's pregnant, and realizing like, I don't have the 5 minutes,
the bandwidth
that this like throws me off track, because it's not that 5 minutes. It's getting back to where I was before it started, which, you know, it takes the momentum to get back to there and unwind it all. I don't have that for you.
Yeah.
If I'm your source of entertainment, then I can't help you anymore.
Yeah.
I love that for you, man. That's a profound moment, I think, in everybody's maturity as a person, and kind of one of the hardest parts of growth, because it's like that person used to be a huge part of your life in some capacity. I'm sure.
Called best friend at one point.
Yeah.
I also, it's relatively easy for me to cut somebody and be like, this person's in this portion of my life, and then this person's and I will not value this person's opinion or seek this person's opinion on this stuff.
Yeah.
But I enjoy their company, you know, and I'm really talking about like family members but you know, it's relatively easy to compartmentalize, you know, certain people. But if somebody was poking at me like that, I'd be like, nah, dude.
Yeah. That's
On a positive note, you live in Kansas City now.
I do.
Been here for a few weeks. Starting tomorrow. And now we'll ask. Well, I'll just put it this way. We typically always ask our guests, what's the go-to KC barbecue spot for you? Because it's a very like high, I would say.
He's only been here 3 weeks.
I don't.
But have you had a KC barbecue experience yet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And did you get this advice from somebody, or were you like, I'm just going to Google something and see what's close? Or?
No, I've got a brother-in-law that lives, a brother and sister-in-law live in the same town as me. So,
they gave you some good advice, I hope.
Black Box, Butcher Box.
Black Box?
Black
yeah.
Box.
No.
Butcher,
Blind Box.
Blind Box.
In Shawnee.
You're in Shawnee,
Mission Parkway.
That's a good one. They also put one in Nebraska Furniture Mart.
And they also sponsored a S2 barbecue at one point.
That's right.
Yeah.
They were they were our barbecue of choice, I think, at our second barbecue ever.
Yeah. Our
Shawnee store.
Barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't had any barbecue in the 3 weeks I've been here. That was from past trips. Or maybe we did in the first, I don't know. It's kind of a blur.
Mm-hmm. What are you going to miss most about Maine as far as just life there?
Well, life there.
I wasn't going to say food-wise, but just life.
Well, from food, it's seafood. You know, we can't, it's New Englander.
Lobster rolls.
I can't eat seafood this far from the ocean. It's just not.
Isn't the Maine, just to make sure I got this correct, the lobster roll thing, there's like Connecticut style and Maine style. Is that accurate?
I've not heard of Connecticut style. They like to throw themselves in the middle of anything they can.
Sure. Maine
but
style.
I've always heard just Maine.
Well,
There's mayonnaise and there's hot butter.
Right. And the mayonnaise is, I believe, the Connecticut style. The hot butter, I believe, is the Maine style.
Okay.
That's what I've been told.
I've never heard of a Connecticut style lobster roll in my life.
I always prefer Maine style because it's hot butter.
Yeah.
The drawn butter, cold lobster roll. What are we doing?
I like the mayonnaise style myself.
You gotta be kidding me. Yeah. Freezing cold.
Well, you're eating them in the summer.
Respect.
Refreshing.
So, yeah.
I always think of Maine with lighthouses and lobster rolls. That's it.
That's a lot. So there's blueberries. There's potatoes. There's tourism. Tourism is a big driver of the economy in Maine. There's cannabis. There's a big cannabis industry. Cannabis actually took over blueberries a couple years ago, which was a big deal.
Wow.
And there's some cannabis tourism that comes there too. It's
Wild.
It's a high quality. So Maine arguably has top to bottom, top three. We'll just call it top two. Because California is always in the picture, but it's just been a low barrier to entry. You don't need to have $1 million to get started, especially a couple years ago.
$200 million in sales.
Yeah.
In one state. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. There's over 400 dispensaries between medical and adult use.
So people are just fishing and getting high.
A lot of fishing. There's a lot of outdoor stuff. It's like the winters are so bad that you need to have an outdoor activity, whether it's ice fishing or snowmobiles. There's people actually snowshoe and cross-country ski, skiing, snowboarding, that kind of stuff. So whereas I'm from Massachusetts where like the winter sucks, you just kind of white knuckle it. You get through it. But
Oh, have you experienced a winter here yet?
no,
It'll be more mild.
I'm not. Okay, actually.
It sucks.
Okay.
It's just cold as hell.
It sucks.
I came out
It's
here.
mild.
I came out here February last year.
Okay. The middle of awful, like the worst time
The
of year.
worst time of year. Or was it warm?
So you get snow here. It's not like
A lot. It's just,
miraculous that it happens. I had to leave here on 70 the day of this snowstorm that was 3 inches of snow.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
that's just the news.
yeah.
No, I was in it.
Oh, okay.
I got pictures that I was sending to people of this much snow on the ground and tractor. It looked like Family Guy episodes. The amount of cars that were driven off the side of the road, the 18-wheelers that were off the side of the road.
Was it ice though? Give it some credit.
No.
My
No, I will not.
I'll say, like, I've grown up in Missouri in all parts. I was in Springfield, St. Louis, Kansas City. And, the Midwest in general is pretty much like today it's 72. Tomorrow we're going to get 6 inches of snow. The next day it'll be 85.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's just all over the place. But we had some pretty bad ice storms during that time. Like, with the semis going off the side of the road and stuff, it's because, like, it rained ice and then it snowed over it.
I am not agreeing to this cope. Okay.
Right.
I watched terrible driving. I watched absolutely no road maintenance. All right. It's 70. Like what else, where else are the plows going to go other than 70 in this state if it's like that? What other purpose would
Missouri
they
and
serve?
Kansas also a 3% sales tax difference, and it's all attributed to the roads.
You're lucky you live on the Kansas side.
Yeah, Kansas is
I've
way
noticed the
roads
roads
better.
are a lot better.
It's
And
hilarious.
whatever the highways do in the downtown area makes little sense.
Oh, dude.
Very little.
You don't want to go to the downtown. Only losers live downtown and would want to be down there all the time.
Yeah, I
Just
live there.
Jeff.
But it's like, if you blink, you missed your exit for sure. You
Yes. Oh, I've done a bunch of that.
got
out
to
here.
exit and then get back on. You get on and then get off again
And
immediately.
I'm doing that in St. Louis too, because so Ian and I did a tour of all the stores. So we did all the St. Louis stores. We was out for an event. He flew out here. We did all the stores here and Springfield, and
Went to the OG.
I just kept getting fucking thrown off by the GPS because how I use the GPS is I watch the line and then I'm not like reading all the street signs. So I watch
Right.
where the line goes. I count like. It's this exit, it's this, there's 2 turns, and I'm going to the second one. And then some of these, it's like 6 lanes going in different directions. All of a sudden,
the
like,
infamous left exits. You're like, what are we doing?
the GPS goes from like 20 minutes to 47 minutes.
You got to
Like,
truly
oh.
get your bearings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not local to Kansas City. I've been here for almost 9-10 years. And I'm like, man, when I first got here, it was just like, I was using GPS up until like I was living here for like maybe 3 years.
I cannot fathom when I'm not going to be using GPS.
I know.
Because I also don't have a good sense of the direction either. Like it's hard to explain. Like,
We're dudes. What do you mean? I definitely know where I'm going. Yeah.
Well, Kansas City, you're
pretend
lucky.
I do. Yeah, but I definitely don't.
Kansas City's a big square, which makes it easier than St. Louis, which is a weird triangle.
How is it? Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, St. Louis looks like an actual human heart as far as how it's shaped.
St. Louis is like downtown is the worst because all the roads are like this, and
Got to dodge the homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we got those here too.
Pass them every day.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, anyways, dude, I appreciate you coming on. It was a great conversation. Is there where can people find your product? Where can they find more about your product and where can people find you in general?
Website is recoverycbd.com. Instagram is recoverycbd.usa. And if you're local to the area, it's available at all S2 locations.
Supplement Superstore. Best place to buy it.
Yeah, man. And it's awesome. I would just say, like, we use it. It's lovely. And you can absolutely see a difference, especially on the recovery side of things.
Yeah. And this product here, just kind of in closing, I passionately believe that everybody should own this product. This is going to substitute for your ibuprofen in like 99% of the things you're going to take it for. Even headaches, you put a little of this on your temples. Be careful of your eyes. It is menthol. That is being said very clearly to you before I recommend that. But a little on your temples, a little on your neck is great for headaches. Any muscle or joint pain, really, anything that you're experiencing some type of pain and inflammation, there's a very good chance you could use that. And that's what I stand by. Even just having it in your gym bag, having it in your golf bag, it's it may not be it's an as needed product, to hang on to. Some people it lasts months,
and it's affordable. That's the other part I was going to say is that you guys are very fair with how you price it.
Yep. $35. You get 400 pumps out of that bottle, which is going to be about 150 to 200 uses. You're going to use 2 or 3 pumps per site per use.
Well, man, it was really great getting to know you better today, Leo, and we look forward to continuing to get to know you better and growing alongside you.
Great. Thanks for your time, guys.
Thanks for
Thank you, brother.
Everything.